Truth is not honesty. You think about the truth.
It's not every day that a reality TV star drops a truth bomb so big it shakes the entire fan base. But that's exactly what happened when Kody Brown, the woman so many viewers saw as the heart of Sister Wives, sat down on Instagram Live and calmly revealed a secret that had been buried for years. She didn't flinch. She didn't sugarcoat. She just said it. Every single TLC paycheck from the show went straight into Kody's personal account. Not a family account, not a shared business, just Kody. The moment those words left her mouth, you could almost hear the collective gasp from fans across the country. For years, people speculated about the money, the contracts, the real power behind the scenes. But hearing it from Kody herself, that was a whole new level. Suddenly, all those whispers about control, about trust, about who really held the keys to the Brown family's empire were out in the open. Hi friends, I'm Sophie, and you're watching TLC's Sister Wives Recaps. If you're as stunned as I am, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join this community. I want to know what you think. Did you ever suspect this was happening? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this is the kind of secret that changes everything. Money, trust, family, and years of hidden truths are all on the line. And tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on the moment Kody decided to stop protecting the story and start telling it. Kody's Instagram Live didn't start with fireworks. She was sitting in her living room, looking relaxed, flipping through the pages of her upcoming memoir like she was about to read a bedtime story. There was no dramatic music, no big announcement, just Kody being Kody. Warm, approachable, and a little bit playful. She asked viewers to pick a page number, promising a sneak peek at her book. Fans in the chat were tossing out numbers, laughing along, expecting a few lighthearted stories or maybe a behind-the-scenes tidbit from the early days of Sister Wives. But then, almost out of nowhere, Kody landed on a passage about money. Her voice didn't change. She didn't look nervous. She just started reading, talking about how the TLC contracts were handled, how Kody was always the one dealing with the paperwork, and how the wives were told everything would be split for the good of the family. Then she paused, looked up at the camera, and said it as if it was the most ordinary thing in the world. None of it went to me directly. It all went to him, every single check. She even gave a little smile, like she was finally letting go of a weight she'd carried for years. The chat exploded. You could see the comments flying by. People asking if she was serious, if Kody really took all the money, if this was even legal. Some fans were shocked. Others said they'd always suspected something was off, but everyone agreed this was the kind of truth that changes how you see everything. Within minutes, clips from the live were being shared on Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. Screenshots of Kody's face, her calm expression, her steady hands on the book were everywhere. What made it even more powerful was how unbothered she seemed. Kody wasn't angry or bitter. She looked free. Her tone was steady, her body language open, almost relieved. It was the kind of honesty that doesn't need to shout to be heard, and in that moment it was clear. Kody wasn't just telling her story, she was reclaiming it. Kody didn't just stop at telling her side, she hinted she had the proof to back it up. Right after dropping the bomb about the TLC paychecks, she casually mentioned she'd saved some of the receipts. Not just memories or vague recollections, but actual documents. She said it with a little laugh, almost like she knew exactly what kind of storm she was about to unleash. And then, as if on cue, the internet did what it does best. Within 20 minutes of her live ending, a grainy screenshot started, making the rounds on Facebook groups and Instagram fan pages. It showed a partial bank statement with a deposit labeled TLC Discovery Payment, and the account name was clear as day, Kody W. Brown. Not a family LLC, not a shared trust, just Kody. Fans went wild. Some were convinced it was real, pointing out the background of the photo matched Kody's Utah home, same candle holder, same side table, even the edge of a pillow that had shown up in her previous posts. Others were skeptical, wondering if it could have been doctored or leaked by someone else. But the energy was electric. People started combing through old episodes, looking for clues, rewatching scenes where Kody talked about money or where the wives seemed uncomfortable during financial discussions. Reddit threads exploded with theories, timelines, and side-by-side comparisons of the family's spending habits. The speculation didn't stop there. Kody hadn't reposted the screenshot herself, but she didn't deny it either. That silence spoke volumes. And then she dropped another tease. Next time, she said she'd show the contract copy she kept. Just wait. That one sentence sent the fandom into overdrive. If Christine really had the original contract, or even just a piece of it could be the biggest revelation in Sister Wives history. Not just messy, but possibly legal. People started asking what this could mean for Kody, for Robin, for the whole show. Was this just the beginning? Was Christine about to blow the lid off a decade of secrets? The anticipation was almost unbearable. Fans were refreshing her social media, waiting for the next live, the next post, the next clue. Christine had everyone on edge, and for the first time in years, it felt like the real story was finally coming out. She wasn't just hinting at the truth, she was promising to prove it, and the entire Sister Wives community was waiting, and ready for whatever came next. When Sister Wives first hit TV screens, the Brown family sold viewers a vision of unity. They talked about shared sacrifice, about building a life together, about how every decision was made for the good of the whole. The early seasons were full of scenes around crowded dinner tables, group meetings, and long talks about faith and family. Kody would often say things like, "We're all in this together," and the wives would nod, sometimes with real hope in their eyes. It looked like a team, even if it was a complicated one. But as the years went on, cracks started to show. Christine's recent revelations have pulled back the curtain on what was really happening behind those closed doors. While the cameras captured moments of togetherness, the reality was that Kody held all the financial power. He was the only one who dealt with TLC, the only one who saw the contracts, the only one who knew exactly how much money was coming in. The wives, including Christine, were told the money would be split for the family, but they never saw the deposits. They didn't have access to the accounts. If they asked for details, they were brushed off with excuses. "It's too complicated," or "I'll show you later." But later never came. Christine has described how she and the other wives would sometimes ask for a breakdown of the finances, hoping for transparency. Instead, they got vague answers or were made to feel like they were being difficult for even asking. Kody insisted everything was accounted for, but he never actually showed the numbers. The wives were expected to trust him, to believe that he was handling things fairly. But as Christine has now made clear, that trust was misplaced. The money wasn't going into a family account or a business set up for everyone's benefit. It was going straight to Kody, and he decided how it was spent. This setup left the wives in a vulnerable position. They were on TV, sharing their lives with millions, but they had no real say in the financial side of things. They were told it was all for the family, but in reality, they were kept in the dark. Christine's story isn't just about money. It's about control, about who gets to make decisions, and about what happens when trust is used as a shield for secrecy. The image of unity that the Browns projected was just that, an image. Behind it, the power was never truly shared. The emotional toll of this setup went far beyond bank accounts. For Christine and the other wives, it was a constant battle between what they were told to believe and what they actually felt. On camera, Kody often spoke about spiritual leadership and the importance of faith in their family. He'd remind the wives that their sacrifices were part of a higher calling, that questioning him was almost like questioning God's plan. This wasn't just about money. It was about obedience, loyalty, and keeping the peace, even when things felt deeply unfair. Christine has talked about how, whenever she or another wife brought up concerns about finances or fairness, the conversation would quickly turn. Instead of answers, they'd get guilt. Kody would say things like, "We're building a kingdom," or "We all have to trust each other." If Christine pushed back, she was made to feel selfish or ungrateful, as if wanting clarity was a betrayal of the family's values. This kind of gaslighting left her doubting her own instincts. She's admitted that for years she wondered if she was the problem, if she just needed to have more faith, be more patient, or work harder to keep the family together. The show captured some of these moments, even if viewers didn't always see the full weight of them. There were scenes where Christine looked defeated after a family meeting, or where she tried to bring up her feelings only to be dismissed. One of the most telling moments came when she asked Kody if she could use some of the TLC money to start ESMA, L Business. He immediately said no, claiming the family couldn't spare the funds. But not long after, Robin launched her own jewelry boutique with Kody's full support. The contrast was impossible to ignore. Robin's position in the family has always been a point of tension. While Christine and Janelle struggled with tight budgets, Robin seemed to have access to more: nicer furniture, a bigger house, even a nanny. The show never hid the fact that Robin and Kody spent more time together, but Christine's revelations have made it clear that the imbalance went much deeper. It wasn't just about affection or attention, it was about resources and power. Christine has said it was hard to watch someone else spend freely while she was counting quarters for groceries. That kind of inequality wears you down, especially when you're told to accept it as part of your faith. For Christine, the hardest part wasn't just the lack of money, it was the feeling of being small, of being told her needs didn't matter, and of being expected to stay quiet for the sake of the family's image. The emotional and spiritual manipulation was real, and it left scars that went far beyond the bank balance. The kids were always at the center of the Brown family's story, but being on TV came with a price they never signed up for. Christine has opened up about how, in the beginning, the cameras felt like a novelty. The children got attention from strangers, and there was a sense of excitement about being part of something big. But as the seasons went on, the reality of growing up in the spotlight started to weigh on them. Christine has shared that some of her kids became anxious about being recognized in public, and one daughter even started asking to stay home from errands because she didn't want people acting like they knew her. There were also promises made behind the scenes that never seemed to materialize. Christine has said that Kody told the wives the TLC money would help set up college funds for the kids, a way to make sure their futures were secure after years of sharing their lives on national television. But when the time came, Christine says the money wasn't there. She writes about the disappointment and frustration of realizing that the sacrifices her children made, missing out on privacy, dealing with public scrutiny, and carrying the weight of the family's reputation, weren't matched by the financial support they'd been promised. The show captured glimpses of these struggles. There were moments when the kids looked uncomfortable with the cameras, or when Christine tried to shield them from the drama. She's admitted that, looking back, she wishes she'd known more about the long-term impact. "We didn't know then what we know now," she said, acknowledging that the cost of fame was higher than anyone expected. For Christine, the hardest part is knowing her children paid a price for decisions they never got to make, and that's a truth she's no longer willing to hide. Christine's quiet rebellion didn't happen overnight. For years, she played the role expected of her: supportive wife, devoted mother, loyal member of the family. But as the reality of her situation became impossible to ignore, she started making a plan. Instead of just asking questions and getting brushed off, Christine began quietly documenting everything. She made copies of agreements, took screenshots of bank statements, and wrote down dates and details. It wasn't about revenge. It was about being ready, just in case the truth ever needed to come out. When Christine finally decided to leave, it wasn't just a personal choice, it was a turning point for the entire family. She wasn't just walking away from Kody, she was stepping out of the shadow he'd cast over the family's story. By sharing her receipts and speaking openly, Christine flipped the script. For the first time, she was in control of her own narrative, not just the version Kody wanted the world to see. Her calm confidence during that Instagram live sent a clear message. She wasn't afraid anymore, and she wasn't going to be silenced. Now, with Christine promising to reveal even more, possibly the original TLC contract, maybe even a full timeline of where the money went, there's a sense that the real story is only just beginning. Fans are on edge, waiting to see what she'll share next. Will she expose more about the family's finances? Will other wives come forward with their own stories? Christine's rebellion has already changed the dynamic, and the anticipation is building. The power has shifted, and for the first time in years, it's not Kody holding all the cards. Christine is leading the way, and everyone is watching to see what she'll do next. Christine's revelations don't just shake up the Brown family. They raise questions that reach far beyond one reality show. If everything she's shared is true, it's not just a story about a broken marriage or a family falling apart. It's about what happens when trust is used as a weapon, when contracts are written to silence, and when the people who make a show possible are left in the dark about their own futures. There are real legal and ethical questions here, especially if the children's appearances were never properly compensated, or if the wives were pressured into silence by the very contracts meant to protect them. The legacy of Sister Wives is now at a crossroads. Will the show be remembered for its message of family and faith, or for the secrets that were kept behind the scenes? That's a question only time, and maybe Christine's next move, can answer. I want to hear what you think. Do you believe Christine has enough proof to change everything? Could this lead to legal action, or will it all get swept under the rug? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to TLC's Sister Wives Recaps for mine. Or honest, in-depth coverage. There's so much more to come, and you won't want to miss what happens next.